Thank you for joining us on Operation Roaring Lion Day 5 updates. Purim has passed, but the fight continues, just as in the book of Esther. Haman's death did not end the threat. The Jewish people still had to defend themselves. Similarly, the death of Ayatollah Khomeini has not stopped Iran's aggression. Missiles continue to fly. Hezbollah is fully engaged from the north. Israel, backed by the U.S., continues to fight. Remarkably, nations Iran expected to remain silent are now resisting. Qatar struck Iran in self-defense, and Saudi Arabia. The UAE, Bahrain, and Kuwait are moving closer to Israel and the U.S. And this reminds me of the book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 1. On the day that the enemies of the Jews had hoped to overpower them, the opposite occurred. It also reminds me of Psalm 121, verse 4. Behold, he who keeps Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. So let's look at some historic firsts. An Israeli F-35 Adir shot down a Russian-made Iranian Yak-130 jet over Tehran, the first F-35 in history to down a manned aircraft in combat. Last Israeli air-to-air engagement with manned aircraft was November 24th, 1985, over Lebanon, where an IAF F-15 versus a Syrian MiG-23 ended with the Israeli Air Force kill. So now let's look at what is continuing on the ground. The Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz relayed news that any new Iranian leader continuing terror plans will be eliminated, name or hiding place irrelevant. The war targets the regime, not just one man. Let's look at IDF achievements so far. Over 47 senior Iranian commanders have been eliminated. 60 plus strikes on missile arrays. 600 terror sites have been destroyed, including 150 ballistic missiles and over 200 air defense systems. Israel's largest military flyover occurred with over 200 fighter jets. And what we've seen is over 700 sorties, which has given Israel air superiority over Tehran, which was achieved in 24 hours. 50 plus Iranian UAVs have also been intercepted. Let's look at Tuesday strikes across Iran. Nuclear weapons development site targeted. Regime targets in Tehran and Isfahan. Industrial weapons production, ballistic missile, storage, and launchers. And then finally, missile launchers, defense systems, live fire arrays in western Iran. Now let's look at the Lebanon front. Hezbollah has launched rockets and drones towards Israel. The IDF responded with ground and air strikes. Their targets included weapons depot, command centers, satellite comms, and Hezbollah media studios. And also, Israel has issued evacuation warnings to minimize civilian casualties. Let's look at Operation Epic Fury. This is the U.S. involvement. U.S. forces conducting surgical strikes on Iranian missiles and CENTCOM have said to be laser-focused. President Trump mentioned that Israel didn't force U.S.'s hand, and Israel was ready. U.S. strikes are overwhelming and precise. What are the goals? Destroy Iranian missiles, block the nuclear path, neutralize the Iranian Navy, and halt terror funding. The U.S. stats, 1,250 plus targets struck, 11 Iranian Navy ships destroyed, B-1 bombers hit ballistic missile sites. Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz, 20% to 25% of global oil. So, when we look at Iran's strategy, is it backfiring? I would say yes. The Gulf states are resisting Iranian aggression. Qatar has had retaliatory strikes inside Iran after attacks, condemning assaults on U.S. embassies. The United Arab Emirates has 3 dead, 68 injured. 174 ballistic missiles have been fired at the UAE. 161 of them intercepted. 645 of 689 drones have been intercepted. And the Dubai port operations resumed. Saudi Arabia has sustained 5 attacks, and the military remains strong. Other nations, Bahrain, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, are all actively defending. So, where does this lead us with a call to prayer? First, pray for Israel, safety, resilience, and courage. Pray for the U.S. and allied forces, protection and wisdom. Pray for Iranians, courage to hope for freedom. Pray for leaders, Netanyahu, Trump, and the military commanders. And pray for the region. Dismantling Iran's terror network is a new season of stability and peace. And this, in closing, reminds me of Exodus chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. God bless you and shalom.